Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 8 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we are trying out what I consider to be one of the best Sun teams running around at the moment. This was built by a group of players, Adi, Collin, and Raghav, and they actually all managed to get top 16 in the Players Cup 3 North American Regional Qualifiers with this team. Adi did a really deep dive on this team with Raghav and Collin as well on his channel, so I've linked that in the description below. You may remember him because we featured a couple of his teams before in the last year or so, and so huge thank you to Adi, Collin, and Raghav for the team. They are all fantastic players, and yeah, came up with, I think, what is just a really strong Sun team composition. Now, Sun has been around, pretty much since the beginning of the format. Shouldn't be really surprising, but I think this team definitely has a couple of neat tricks up its sleeve, such as Assault Vest Charizard with Ancient Power, Weakness Policy, Weather Ball, Venusaur, and the, typical Porygon, Groudon, Incineroar, and Grimmsnarl sets here. I think part of its strength is really the Grimmsnarl setting up screens to really enable Weakness Policy Venusaur to do a lot more damage than people typically expect. So yeah, would highly recommend checking out that deep dive that Adi, Raghav, and Collin made. Once again, that's linked in the description below on Adi's YouTube channel, and there's a rental and paste, of course, courtesy of them as well. So let's just jump into today's episode. We're pretty close to featuring all of the more serious restricted mons, so I'm looking forward to getting the last couple off our list, but also wanted to feature some, just top teams that I think, can be really strong right now, especially if you're looking to climb the ladder, and this is definitely one of those teams. So yeah, let's get into the first game of today's episode. Question of the day, I want to know what your favorite series between series 1 through 8 was in the comment section below. I don't know if I have anything that jumps into mind particularly. Maybe like series 6. I think that was the one with the ban list, right? That was pretty fun. So first game of the day, and we're up against Necrozma, Duskmane. Okay. The rest of the team is really interesting. Grimmsnarl, Darmanitan, Rillaboom, Rotom, and Milotic. So, AV Charizard's not bad. I mean, I think Necrozma's definitely the main threat here. Darmanitan scares the Venusaur slightly away. I feel like I should probably bring... Well, if I bring Incineroar, it's really good against Rillaboom, Darmanitan, and... I mean, they have, so many Fire weeks, so I feel like I should probably just play towards Charizard. Charizard Groudon honestly doesn't seem too bad here. It's just weird because I, really want to set up the screens here, but... Incineroar Venusaur seems... Oh, I guess I don't have a Sludge Bomb on this thing. We've got Earth Power and Weather Ball, actually, which is kind of neat. Rotom Heat might be a problem, though, right? Oh, I do have Max Rockfall on Charizard, though, so it's not, the worst scenario, but we'll see. Either way, I think this team's strength is, first of all, has so many strong attackers in Venusaur, Charizard, and Groudon, that at the same time, it's very bulky as well. And I think that gives you a lot of room to make a lot of cool plays. I mean, Gigantamax Charizard and Gigantamax Venusaur are just really incredible, but they're typically a little bit more frail. These two variants are a little bulkier, and then the Grimmsnarl often will enable them by setting up the screens. So, yeah. Let's see what we got here. It's going to be Grimmsnarl and the Necrozma. I mean, this is totally fine for me. I feel like Charizard's in a phenomenal spot. So, yeah, let's get into the first game. And yeah, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Ranked. Let's see. I know I've been posting a bit late these last couple of days, especially if you're watching from the US, so apologies, but still doing my best to just keep it up with the daily uploads. If you're my opponent here, what do? I could see them switching out Necrozma. Truth be told, I really want to just max and Wildfire Swords Dance turn 1. Maybe Wildfire Grimmsnarling is better, but... Okay, they're going to stay with Necrozma, so that's not bad. I guess I'd be nervous here if they have, Scary Face Grimmsnarl, and then they Scary Face just Dynamax Necrozma and Max Rockfall us. That could be really bad. But I feel like Assault Vest Charizard's just really good into my opponent's team, and it threatens the main restricted Pokemon in Necrozma here. Interesting, they're actually going to Dynamax. Okay. I mean, I could see a Light Screen coming out right now, for sure, but... I would think Wildfire plus Press with Splash just KOs, but Necrozma might target Groudon instead, so we'll see. By the way, part of the reason why there's Ancient Power on this Charizard is because it allows you to max Rockfall into opposing Charizards, which is really nice. It's especially considering how many Sun teams are around. Oh, wow. They go for the Max Guard. And then the trick, okay. Okay, so they get my lagging tail. Wait, did I press with Blades or Sword Stance? I did Sword Stance, yeah. Okay, nice. Necrozma's got a max Rockfall here onto Charizard, right? Can't see it being any other play. That was a cool play, turn 1. Could switch into Incin. I'm not down, not opposed to that. I'm just curious if they also have Sucker Punch to activate a weakness policy here. I might just attack anyway, to be honest, because I could see them reading into me protecting, so just go for a Wildfire and a Precipice Blades here. Because I could see, like, Sucker Punch, Steel Spike into Groudon here. That was a nice play on their end, turn 1. Wildfire would have been pretty nice there. Oh, they're going to Sucker Punch Groudon, actually. Interesting. Miss Precipice Blades on Grimmsnarl. It's not amazing. But we hit the Necrozma, which is good. It is weakness policyed. I expect a double up onto Groudon then? I'm surprised they didn't self-Sucker Punch, but I guess they were... Okay, they are going to go for Rockfall. Yeah, this is fine then. Because, like, Precipice Blades is just going to crush the Necrozma. But they did a really good job neutralizing my Charizard in this game. That being said, I can just bring it in... Well, actually, do I want to bring in Incineroar? Probably not, right? The miss on Grimmsnarl is definitely unfortunate. Like, if we hit that, we probably pick up the KO. I can bring in Incin, I can just fake out whatever's coming in. It is good that we're faster than Necrozma right now. So I think, actually, it's probably just Venusaur. I don't want to bring in the Incineroar quite yet. We can go for Weather Ball. I think Sleep Powder is actually pretty good here. Just covers for the option of Grimmsnarl switching out. So I'll Sleep Powder and Precipice Blades here. It's either a double KO. Okay, they go for another Max Guard. That makes sense. Just Sucker Punch into Groudon again. Okay, it's fine. I guess my fear is Darmanitan. Another dodge. Okay. That one doesn't matter, though. Does this one hit? Yeah, it does. Okay. Oh, they actually survive. You know what? I think I'm okay with that, though. The thing is, it might be appropriate to actually withdraw Groudon so that I can bring it back in to reset the weather. But I don't know if Earth Power actually KOs Necrozma from this range. The question is, what do I think my opponent's going to have in the back? Darmanitan seems decently likely. I just don't think Earth Power KOs Necrozma here. I could also Sleep Powder Necrozma. Switch Groudon out. Now, you might be wondering why in the world would you switch that out, but it's just risky on hitting Sleep Powder. I would have, I don't know, Rotom Heat Darm in the back makes a lot of sense. Nah, I don't think this was my best play. I went for Sleep Powder Precipice Blades, but yeah, they're just going to Sucker Punch and, like, I guess they'll activate my Citrus Berry, but I think withdrawing out Groudon... No, I don't know. I don't think Earth Power KOs the Necrozma, which is the problem. Man, we have missed everything. No way. Okay, at least we hit the Necrozma there. Wow. I think this is just the downside with a lot of Sun comps in general. You shouldn't be relying on Sleep Powder, and in the end, most of the misses actually didn't end up mattering anyway, so it's not a big deal. It's important to identify when you can go for attacks like Sleep Powder and Precipice Blades and risk missing them. The reason I just went for it there was to cover for a switch out, basically. So let's see. If it's Darmanitan and Rotom, that's actually not too bad, because I can just protect Groudon. That is Rotom. Protect Groudon, switch Venusaur out into Incineroar. It is the two that I was expecting here, yeah. But then my fear is Rotom getting a nasty plot off in this position if it's a nasty plot set. It actually may be appropriate to just straight up Rock Slide here. I actually like that more. Weather Ball Venusaur right now is actually really interesting with the sand being up too. So it'd be pretty cool to see that come into effect. Either way, my opponent played this pretty nicely. Like the trick and then Max Guard turn 1 was really sweet on their end. So that was a job well done for what I think is a pretty tricky matchup for them. Okay, we survived with 7. Oh my god. What? I think we're still fine, though, because I'm faster than the Rotom. So I can just fake out Darmanitan Rock Slide, but... oh my gosh. Yeah, we just fake out Rock Slide. That's 2 Precipice Blades misses, 2 Sleep Powder misses, and 2 Rock Slide misses. Now, most of those actually didn't even end up mattering, but if we end up winning even with all of that, then that should go to show how you shouldn't just tilt from missing a single attack, because you just got to find the opportunities to win. It was very clutch that we hung on with Ice Punch there, but wow. This is the perfect demonstration of how Venusaur and Groudon can sometimes be a little bit inconsistent. But as long as we hit our Rock Slide here, we should be good. Okay. And we double hit. Nice. So, even with all of those misses, like, you know, in the end, like, the Precipice Blade miss into Grimmsnarl was probably the only thing that actually really hurt here. And then the double miss, obviously, was, like, funny to see. And we actually get a flinch on Rotom. That's nice. But in the end, Rotom wasn't Citrus Berry either. And since our Groudon outspeeds, and we have Venusaur in the back, it's probably safety goggles here. But they're at -2, so yeah, you really can't do much damage. They needed to double up onto Groudon and hope for me to double miss, basically. I'm surprised it's Ice Punch over Ice Skull Crash. I think does Ice Skull Crash do a little bit more? I thought it did. Either way, like, that was definitely a favorable matchup for us. So I think that it's a good example of a game where if you have a favorable matchup, there's a lot that can go wrong. You can still win just because your team does really well into your opponent's team, right? So I think that's like the perfect example of that. But oh my goodness, I said I needed to take a break after yesterday's episode, and here I am playing late at night once again. This is a really cool team. Dragapult, Calyrex, Shadow Rider, Landorus, Celesteela, Umbreon, Whimsicott. Part of me wants to try to Trick Room in this game because their main sweepers are all so fast. I don't have Foul Play here, though, which would be kind of nice in this scenario. I don't know who I want to max, really. Could go Grim Venu. I feel like my opponent doesn't bring Celesteela here, right? Also, our Incineroar actually does have Darkest Lariat, which could be really useful, because maxing Incineroar here is actually not a crazy option, given that their main max options were probably Dragapult plus the Calyrex. I don't know, Trick Room just feels pretty consistent here, and they don't have any Ice Resist, so Ice Beam actually does decent damage across the board. So I'm thinking we just go Grimmsnarl, Porygon, set up screens. Would it be Groudon Charizard? It feels kind of odd. But I don't like going Incineroar here. Well, I have Grimmsnarl to set up screens and Assault Vest on Charizard. Alright, I'm going to go Groudon Charizard in this one, I think. I really want to bring the Venusaur, but Venusaur just doesn't feel very good when Dragapult's one of their main threats. So the idea is to just out-bulk them, because they really need to rely on their 3 turns of Dynamax, and I think we rely on it a little bit less, because Groudon is such a potent threat here. So yeah, I'm curious if they leave Celesteela on the bench, because you don't really want to bring it typically into Charizard, Groudon, and Incineroar. Landorus and Celesteela, okay, very interesting. I mean, I'm totally okay with this, I think. So they did bring Celesteela, but I mean, we have Charizard in the back, so I don't really care about the Celesteela too much right now. We'll get Download and a special attack boost, which is really nice here, because like I said, Ice Beam is just pretty solid across the board here. I think it's probably still better to Trick Room in this scenario and go for a Reflect first. Actually, I don't know if I even really need to Reflect. I think I'd rather Light Screen first to deal with Celesteela. Okay, so Trick Room, Light Screen. Because I have Ice Beam to threaten Landorus right now, and I think Celesteela might Dynamax, which would definitely be interesting given the matchup here. Plus, I don't think a Max Quake plus an attack from Celesteela onto Porygon would like knock the Porygon out. Yeah, and they max Celesteela. Huh, very interesting. Okay, works for me though. Although, with this, I think it might have been better to just have clicked Ice Beam onto Landorus Light Screen turn 1, because, like, setting up Trick Room might actually be a little bit awkward here. But Charizard's really our best answer against Celesteela, so I'm not that concerned. Maybe a U-turn comes out here? Oh, they just go for Earthquake, okay. It's fine by me. That did a lot of damage. Is that choiced? Kind of looks like it. Yeah, Porygon takes nothing after that. Cool. Banded Landorus actually feels like a decent possibility here. But I think we're in decent shape. I would have liked an Ice Beam there more in retrospect, but it's just the rest of their team is so fast. So I don't mind covering for that. Definitely down to Ice Beam into Landorus here. Just go for a Reflect. Actually, I could just Spirit Break Celesteela here instead. What does Reflect help with? Not much, honestly. But I don't really know if I need a Spirit Break onto Celesteela. Like, Reflect is always just safe. It does help in case they have Dragapult in the back. Okay, so no Protect on Landorus. I mean, that Landorus Earthquake damage looked like Choya. Am I wrong in thinking it's banded? No, I probably am. I think I'm just underestimating Landorus' damage output. But yeah, we get a clean KO with Ice Beam here. So this is good. I mean, our opponent will spend 2 turns with their Dynamax just to KO. Oh, they target Porygon again. That's great for us because I can just recover all of that damage off. So, like, I see what they're going for. They're just, like, trying to boost Celesteela up. But this is why it's actually really essential to bring Charizard in the back for this one. Bring out Umbreon, which is totally fine, too. Okay. Yeah, so let's just recover here. Oh, not Trick Room. Let's make sure we don't misclick. Recover. And, I think I'm down to Spirit Break into Umbreon. Yawn from Umbreon's the main thing we want to watch out for right now. I'll probably reverse my Trick Room, to be honest. I wonder if Celesteela is like Meteor Beam, but with screens and Assault Vest, I don't even think I need to be that concerned about that. Okay, third Steel Spike. Finally targeting Grimmsnarl. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I don't really care about the defense boosts when I have Charizard in the back. It's just like, kind of want to stall out my own Trick Room right now, which is why, like I said, it might have been smarter to just not set up Trick Room. Yeah, they're going to go for Yawn, which is a good attack here. I think it's fine, though. I mean, can we just bring out Charizard? They got a special attack boost. It's just, I'm like a little concerned because I haven't seen Celesteela's item yet, and I'm thinking it's Meteor Beam with Max Rockfall. I probably should have brought Groudon out first then. Still have 2 turns of Trick Room left here. Down to Eerie, Impulse Celesteela, and honestly switch Charizard out into Groudon, because this just like sets up Charizard for the late game, but I think it was better to just bring Groudon out first outright. I just want to bait out a potential Meteor Beam here, because if I get that out, they have no way to beat Charizard in this endgame, because their last one should be Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? So we just play around the Charizard. Sure, Porygon falls asleep, but you're not really doing that much damage with the -1 special attack Celesteela when Light Screen is up and Umbreon. Those are both really passive. Umbreon is a really big nuisance to some teams, though, honestly, because like you can't one-shot it typically. But yeah, I'm just trying to set up this late-game G-Max Wildfire. I also could have just switched Porygon out, but like I said, I think like Meteor Beam might be a possibility here from Celesteela. They just end up protecting, okay. Protect and then Yawn. That makes me think they don't have Meteor Beam, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet. Oh, I actually go for Snarl. Okay, that works for me. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay. Well, Trick Room's about to expire. We have 1 turn left here. I still have multiple turns of screens, which are obviously good. I don't want to get Yawned on Groudon. And I want to burn turns of sleeps right now. Although I think Ice Beam Swords Dance is actually fine here. I still haven't even maxed, which is good too, right? Because... oh, it's Baby Doll Eyes. That's cute. Okay, so Baby Doll Eyes, Yawn, Snarl, Foul Play, presumably. But maybe it doesn't have Foul Play. I could see it having Moonlight instead. Just Flash Cannon, that's fine. The Porygon. I could have switched Porygon out there, but I think because they didn't get a Yawn off, my Groudon's actually in very good shape right now. There is an argument to be made to max Groudon instead, but I don't like that too much, to be honest. I'm gonna try to recover here. I like protecting here. If I'm my opponent, I'm yawning Groudon, because you need to cover for the option of Groudon maxing here. Okay. I feel like it really should switch in Charizard here. I feel like I don't think they have Meteor Beam. So I think I'm just going to go out into Charizard this turn. And I'll go for another Swords Dance here. Because I'm not sure +1 Precipice Blade KOs, but +3 should definitely. Even if you get the Yawn off onto Groudon here, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so we finally make the switch. Yeah, they just go for Baby Doll Eyes, and that's totally fine with me. Like, as long as they don't put these two to sleep, we should be rolling. So, yeah, I think we're in good shape right now. As long as they didn't actually go for Meteor Beam on the Porygon to, like, this turn, assuming that's what they have. But it's just another Flash Scan. Okay, perfect. So we finally positioned Charizard in the perfect position. Took a while to get there, but now it's looking pretty good. Okay, here I'm actually just going to Dynamax, and I'm going to Airstream, because this helps us ensure that we outspeed the Calyrex Shadow Rider in the late game. Because I feel like Celesteela here is going to want to protect. I don't know. I feel like if it was Meteor Beam, Power Meteor Beam, they just would have went for it already. Like, they've had multiple opportunities to go for it, and they haven't. Especially when I had Charizard out on the field already, so that makes me think they don't have it. Airstream plus Quake should knock out Umbreon, and then we should win just off Wildfire plus Groudon under screens alone. So I think the main thing to note if you're using this team is it is often about positioning and looking for, like, the perfect position. And in this game, things got a little bit awkward because I actually ended up setting up Trick Room. And I'm not sure that Trick Room setup was actually the smartest. I think it makes sense in the context that I know my opponent has really fast stuff other than Umbreon plus Celesteela. And Umbreon plus Celesteela is not that impressive in terms of offense. So yeah. Okay. I mean, this Assault Charizard on their screens is an absolute beast. They actually don't protect the Celesteela, so nice play there. We got Max Airstream off, good damage. I wonder if with Light Screen... No, Meteor Beam would probably KO us, right? So maybe I should have Wildfire just to cover for the Meteor Beam option. I just can't hit anything today. Wow. Oh my gosh. Let's see what Celesteela goes for. Yeah, it's just Air Slash. That's fine. I am going to Wildfire here, I think. But... This is why Groudon can be sometimes a tricky Pokemon to use. Yeah, I don't even care if Celesteela protects in this position. Wildfire just does so much damage, and now I ensure I outspeed. And given that there was, like, if there was any turn to power Meteor Beam, it would have been that turn. So I'm like 95% sure that's actually more than 95. If they were actually holding it this entire time, that would actually be completely wild. But at this point, Wildfire still does a ton of damage through Celesteela Protect. Even though you snarled me, like, that's fine. +1 Precipice Blades, I think, should KO the Umbreon as well. We have that speed boost on Charizard. And then if Calyrex Shadow Rider comes out as the last one, okay, Celesteela does protect here. So, I mean, yeah, good decision to not protect last turn. I didn't care. But, yeah, just Baby Doll Eyes, that's fine. Like, I still don't see how they win the late game in terms of offense. I just wanted to withhold on Wildfiring last turn because I thought the Protect would come out then. But, like, yeah, I mean, that still does so much damage, right? Like, the Celesteela's on a timer now. I hope we hit this Precipice Blades, though. Alright, Groudon. This is actually unbelievable. What am I witnessing? What? Oh my gosh. Okay. Wild. Absolutely wild. Got to the point where Light Screen actually wore off and we only have one turn to Reflect off as well. What a wild match. I think we still just Wildfire Precipice Blades. It's just annoying because, like, if it's Specs Calyrex, I'm actually a little bit nervous here. So I actually want to Airstream. Oh my gosh, I mean, these misses are actually hurting a little bit now. I think I'm going to Airstream Swords Dance here. Because this ensures I'm at +2 speed with both of these Pokemon. I just needed Calyrex to come in sooner than later. I guess Umbreon now, is it snarling or is it yawning? I felt like they should have been yawning earlier. I don't know. I could have just gone Wildfire Precipice Blades, but I'm not sure I actually win a 3v1 against Calyrex. Well, actually, I guess if it's specs, like Porygon should deal with Calyrex. Okay, they yawn onto Charizard, but that's fine. Is that a crit? No, not even. Wow. Okay. But Groudon, I mean, Groudon just needs to hit its attacks here. Oh my gosh. Reflect is off. Calyrex, Shadow Rider should be their last one. We're yawned at -1, but we are speedy. There is probably merit to switching Charizard out here, though. Actually, I don't know. I think it may be better to just straight up stay in here anyway. And Heat Wave. But... let's see. Like, we're not even in that bad shape, but... definitely is a little frustrating. Oh, this thing's at +3, though, so we're looking good, I think. We just need a hit. That's it. My other fear here is they actually had Wide Guard on Celesteal this entire time, but I don't think so. I'm just going to Heat Wave Precipice Blades here. Even if you double protect, you take Wildfire damage, and then a Precipice Blade should KO Calyrex. Okay, so Calyrex isn't protecting, so as long as we hit our attacks here, we should still be good. Okay, Heat Wave. That one hits, but Precipice Blades is the more important one here. Yeah, we're faster. That's why it was important to Airstream there. My heart actually, like, stopped for a moment there, I swear. Had to work for this one a lot harder than it really needed to be, but in the end, it's okay. I don't know. I think it might have been fine to just have Wildfired Celesteal Precipice Bladed last turn, but Airstream Swords Dance ensures this Groudon just sweeps. The only problem is if they yawned into Groudon and then, like, you protect there, right? But there's still one more turn of Wildfire, so... I mean, in the end, my opponent maxed the Celesteela against the Sun team, so... it, you know, it feels like they were definitely... like, we were in a good spot for sure, but... the misses made things dicey, and Umbreon is a tricky Pokemon, especially because I had Baby Doll Eyes in this one, too. But Groudon comes in the clutch here for us in the end, so nice. Oh my goodness, though, I mean... just the last two games alone? I once again, though, I'm, like, really happy to have games like this, because it goes to show how you can, like, in the right matchup, afford to miss multiple times and still be okay. I think too often in Pokemon, you know, you'll miss, like, you'll see people miss a single attack, and then you'll see them get, like, super frustrated, super tilted, and just, like, play very suboptimally afterwards, which is funny, because I feel like I probably didn't play, like, perfectly after some of the misses, but... you know, tilt is a very real factor, but if you have the team advantage, like, you can still win the game. And no matter how unlucky you get, like, you know, what's happened has happened. You should always just focus on the game in front of you and try to ask yourself, like, okay, what is my path to victory even after these misses? That last game was a little bit scary just because Umbreon, I think, had it just gone for Yawn onto Groudon at any point rather than my opponent going for a mix of, like, Snarl and Baby Doll Eyes. That could have been really bad with the misses because the win con was to have Charizard and Groudon and have them boosted up. The other part of the issue is that I ran out of Sun relatively quickly, but it was a good decision on their end to not protect the Celesteela the first turn when I could have gone for a Wildfire there, so that was smart. But yeah, just wild. This is why, like, Sun can be a little bit more inconsistent, but once again, it's all about finding the most consistent play, right? I think a lot of times when people use this composition, they like to spam Sleep Powder, you know, lead Venusaur and just go for Sleep Powder on turn 1, which isn't necessarily a bad play, but there are a lot of times where I see players do that, and it feels like if they miss, they actually just, like, insta-lose the game. So, yeah. Alright, last game of the day, and it's going to be a Xerneas team. I think I actually ran into this player while playing, like, practicing a little bit earlier. And they did something really cool. They led, like, Thundurus plus Indeedee, and then hard switched Thundurus out into Xerneas turn 1. And I led really passively. I led Porygon plus Grimmsnarl. Because we're Policy Venusaur, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to go, like, Venu Grim. Because Venusaur actually walls Xerneas decently well. And then you might activate Policy, so I can just, like, reflect Vine Lash. Kind of want to... We didn't really use Venusaur today, so I kind of want to feature that. And then Groudon Charizard in the back feels okay. Porygon's actually really decent here, but the question is how execution with it. Because it doesn't do much against NDD specifically, and Xerneas getting set up here is a big problem. And on paper, Venusaur might seem a little bit odd, but we actually have the Policy, and we have screens from Grimmsnarl, and I can Scary Face, and I have Sun support in the back. I guess the main problem is I don't have like max Ooze, so I actually can't do that much damage to Thundurus specifically. But there's Groudon in the back, which I think definitely helps against Thundurus. They just go with Xerneas plus Indeedee, okay. How do I feel about this? Not amazing, to be honest. What was my best lead against Xerneas plus Indeedee? It would have been Charizard Groudon. Because I could just Heat Wave like Precipice Blades turn 1. Man, that would have been like a game-winning lead here, but I didn't feel great about that into like their Thundurus, for example. I don't think I need a Light Screen turn 1, right? I think I'm just going to Spirit Break, Max, Vine Lash. Oh, I should have doubled up onto Xerneas, because Indeedee could protect here. It'd be really risky to protect over Follow Me, though. I think he should just follow me, because I could just Sleep Powder in this position. Okay. Like, the thing is, if Xerneas doesn't have a Psychic, I mean, basically, yeah, a Psychic type attack, I'm not sure what its last, like, if it's Moonblast, Dazzle, Geomancy, Protect, actually, we're fine. Yeah, they didn't, oh my gosh, they didn't follow me with Indeedee. Wow. Although they might actually end up activating my Weakness Policy with Expanding Force. Also, their Xerneas is slower than my Venusaur, if you just caught that. Which is good for us, I think. But I could have just Vine Lash Spirit Breaked into Xerneas turn 1, and I feel like we'd be in really good shape. So I should have doubled up on the Xerneas, because like the worst case is what? They go for Follow Me. Yeah, this is an example where I could have covered that super well. They activate my Weakness Policy, which is kind of neat. But, oh, I take so much damage there. I'm not sure that's even worth it. That Xerneas is really slow. That's interesting. To be slower than this Venusaur, I was not expecting. Yeah, double up on a Xerneas would have been really nice there. Because, like, I get Vine Lash before they Geomancy. Between Vine Lash, Spirit Break, and the Residual, we probably just knock out Xerneas, to be honest. Now they can bring in, I don't know, Thundurus or Landorus, Dynamax that, Airstream into Venusaur. It's going to be Thundurus. Okay, so Groudon's valuable here in the late game. If you're my opponent, you just max Airstream Venusaur, right? And Dazzling or Moonblast into Grimmsnarl. Do I even survive Max Airstream with Reflect? I'm really not sure. I'm thinking we switch into Groudon here, get the Sun up. And then just Vine Lash into Xern. Man. I get punished for making a suboptimal play turn 1, so kudos to my opponent for just expanding forcing there. That was a really, really job well done there. Because I feel like if we knock out Xerneas, then you still bring out Thundurus, and it's still kind of scary, but I don't know. I also don't know if I agree with this play on my end, because I actually kind of need Groudon to deal with the Thundurus. Yeah. And Vine Lash isn't going to KO Xerneas. I mean, the residual is definitely going to add up, but especially if this is physical Thundurus, like you're just going to Max Lightning to wreck my Charizard, so this is, yeah, not the best approach. Yeah. I think we just get double KO'd here. That switch probably wasn't worth it, but I don't know. I didn't really see like a very clear route here. Great decision to not follow me turn 1. It's always a little bit of a risky gamble, but I think effectively my opponent, and we get crit there, but I don't think that mattered. Our only way of winning if it's a Life Orb Thundurus and not Assault Vest, because then I can drop its speed, but it looks like it's AV. Yeah. I really messed up by not going for Vine Lash Spirit Break onto the Xerneas slot turn 1. That was just definitely our best play, and I got punished really heavily for it. Yeah, like, because the play that they made ended up countering exactly the play that I made. Just doesn't make very much sense to target into NDD in that position. Especially because it's not like I even denied an expanding force, right? If I denied an expanding force, like, maybe there's an argument to be made. Yeah, I guess I just scary face here in Heat Wave, but I think this is a done deal at this point. And if I wanted to lead to counter Xerneas plus NDD specifically, it's definitely just Groudon plus Charizard. So it's not like I didn't have options in this game, but I got outled. And like I said, I ran into this opponent just a little bit ago on the ladder too. And in that one, they let Thundurus plus the Xerneas, or sorry, Thundurus plus NDD and Heart switch Thundurus out into Xerneas, and I played really passively, and they just got it for a Geomancy off, and that was tough. We miss Heat Wave, of course. Yeah. Alright. There's really no hope here at this point, given that it was AB Thundurus, so... It's probably... The better decision is also probably to just Dynamax Groudon in this game. I don't know, like... I could go Grimmsnarl Groudon, and Light Screen Swords Dance turn 1, and then Max Groudon from there. But then if you Expanding Force Geomancy, it's still not amazing. So, I feel like I shouldn't have that tough of a matchup against Xerneas, but my execution here was just pretty subpar. And my turn, like, I kind of just lost off turn 1, basically. So, yeah. Alright, last match of the day, and it is a Sun Mirror here. But they have no Groudon, it's Zacian instead, which is really interesting. They also have Landorus, which is definitely scary. I'm sad because I feel like I just haven't been able to really utilize Venusaur too much today. Which definitely feels a little bad. But I feel like setting up screens early with Grimmsnarl here is really good for us. Grim Charizard's tempting, just that they might lead with... I also, who do I have in the back? Does Venusaur make sense here? It's still fast Sleep Powder, which always can, like, bail us out. Part of me is actually thinking Grim Incin. Because with Goggles, screens, Parting Shot, sets up Groudon, and then I think Charizard in the back. I don't know, Venusaur feels a little bit weird here into Torkoal, Charizard. I don't do much. The best Venusaur can do is either Sleep Powder, which is unreliable, or Weather Ball. So yeah. We'll see. I think like one of the things, like I mentioned earlier, that you really want to try to do is find a consistent method. And I don't like leading, for example, Venusaur here. Actually, yeah, this is exactly why. If you're my opponent, what can you do? Fake out the Grimmsnarl? I wanna fake out their Grim and Light Screen, but I don't know if their Grim's faster. How fast is this Grim, actually? Just curious relative to Incin. Oh, Incin's got a lot more speed investment, so... Fake out Light Screen turn 1 seems like a really solid play. We also have, this is where Max Rockfall Charizard I think is really good for us. So we're definitely playing towards Dynamaxing our Charizard in this game. But yeah, the idea of leading more passively here is to just disrupt and try to stall out their potential Dynamax. We fake out Light Screen, next turn Parting Shot Reflect. Okay, they switch out, that's fine. Into their Landorus though. Is that fine? I guess it could be Charizard. Let's see what Charizard goes for. Do they max here? Because like I feel like you might want to max Landorus instead. Okay, they're still gonna max. But you can Airstream. This is where Scary Face though is really valuable for us, right? Because I get Light Screen up and then I can. Would I rather Reflect? It's a good switch on their end. Parting Shot onto Charizard would have been such a good play for us here. But I wanted to just ensure that I get screens up in this game, so I think that's a trade-off I'm willing to take. Because our goal is to, like I said, just stall out their Dynamax in the early. And they go for Wildfire, which honestly I'm okay with. Yeah, that really does actually not do that much. Now if you're my opponent, you go what? Earthquake, Max Airstream. Huh, if I go into Groudon, I'll actually set up the weather for them, which isn't good. Can Reflect here. I think I'm going to Reflect Parting Shot. I really don't want to hard switch the Incineroar right now into either of the Pokemon that I have in the back. And we 100% played through our Charizard in this game. They're not Life Orb Charizard either, so I'm really curious on the item. Wow. Was not expecting that at all, but that's so good for us. I'm really surprised they felt the need to max guard there, to be honest. And then they just U-turn out. Wow. I mean, we take those. That's really good for us. Like, I felt like Max Airstream Earthquake there was just a pretty safe opportunity, but now we've stalled out 2 turns of their Dynamax, so definitely surprising, but I'm happy to see that. I think the one thing we have to worry about here is potentially getting tricked by their Grimmsnarl. So we definitely want to be a little bit careful here. Like, we also want to stall out their Wildfire, right? And the good thing is with 2 fire types, we could actually make Wildfire a lot less effective. As long as we have the fire types on the field, basically. Okay, last turn of Max here. I think I want a Scary Face. Well, actually, this thing's Max ends after this turn anyway, right? Got a Spirit Break into Grimmsnarl and then switch this back out into Incineroar to cover for potential trick shenanigans from their Grimmsnarl. Because I think we win at this point as long as we don't get tricked. Our Charizard should just sweep through Under Sun because we've stalled out their Dynamax. So let's see. And yeah, the main thing, as I mentioned, is I always want to keep a fire Pokemon out on the field right now. Okay, they just Light Screen, but that's fine. That makes me, given, like, I think that means they should also just be screens. They had Max Rockfall as well. There we go. There you go. But Instant takes that pretty well. More importantly, we've stalled out their Dynamax. And I've got an Instant in. So I'm pretty sure they're also Assault Vest Charizard. Which is great, though, because, yeah, Spirit Break here actually does a sizable amount. And then I can just go bring in my Charizard, Dynamax my Charizard now. I think with Max Charizard, I want to lean towards Fake Out Max Airstream into their Grimmsnarl. Sure, they have probably Ancient Power from their Charizard, but it's not really doing that much damage anyway. Yeah, so let's bring out our Charizard now. Well, they didn't set up Reflect yet, but don't think I really want to bring out Groudon right now. Especially because they have Landers with Intimidate in the back, which doesn't feel great. I lean towards Fake Out Airstream into Grimmsnarl just because I don't want Grimmsnarl to get any speed control onto Charizard, whether it be Thunder Wave or Scary Face. So yeah, I think I'm just going to Fake Out Airstream Grimm here. You could switch Grimmsnarl out. That'd be a really good play. But then their Charizard, what, at best Ancient Powers us, and then now we're at +1 speed with both. Okay, and they switch Charizard out. Perfect, yeah. Into Landers. Yep, okay, good. So if we eliminate the Grimmsnarl, that's a really good start. And then we want to get Groudon in, maybe give that a speed booster too as well. I'm just sad because we didn't really get to use Venusaur at all today. But these were not great Venusaur matchups at all. So let's see. I'm hoping Fake Out plus Airstream plus Sand's enough to KO the Grimmsnarl. If not, that actually could be a really big issue for us. But after Airstream, Charizard should outspeed their entire team. And then we can just go to town from there. Not having Life Orb does really hinder your damage output, though. Oh, man, I'm actually really not sure this KOs. We got a little bit of Sand Chip at the end of the turn, too. Wow, it's going to survive. Oh, that's tough. I mean, to me, the question really is what item... Oh, they were actually... They were going for an attack there with Grimmsnarl. Interesting. Huh, okay. Well, I kind of just want to Wildfire into Landers here. Switch Incineroar out into Groudon. It may have been smarter to just Fake Out Wildfire there, rather than go for a speed boost immediately, because I actually didn't really need a speed boost here. Because it's not like your Zacian is going to come out, and even if it comes out, it doesn't really scare me that much, so... I think Wildfire this last turn would have been better, because then that gets the KO onto Grimmsnarl with the residual. We're still in an okay spot, but that does feel like a slightly suboptimal play. Alright, they just go for Reflect this time around. That's fine. Don't know if Wildfire KOs Landers, but they shouldn't be Assault Vested, and this is Solar Power Sun boosted still, so let's see. Okay, they hang on. That's okay, though. We should survive a Rock Slide. It's Rock Tomb. Wow. That is definitely not ideal. Haven't seen that in a while either. This one feels frustrating. Like, I feel like I've messed up a little bit because I airstream when I should have wildfired, and I wildfired when I should have airstreamed. And they bring their Charizard back out. Now, presumably their last one is going to be Zacian, right? And we have Incineroar plus Groudon, which are both quite good against Zacian. I mean, here I really want to just max Airstream and Rock Slide. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go for that, but... is it Scarf Land OT? We lose the speed tie. That's fine. Okay, we end up surviving. And they don't get boosts. Okay, so I think we're fine here still. As long as our Rock Slide hits. That's a crit, right? Actually, I'm not a... Is it? No, it's not. I just... With the screens up, I feel like my damage output sense has been so warped. But yeah, nice. We hit the Rock Slide. Okay. So that should be game over then, I think. Perfect. I was going to say, it would be really disappointing to lose this game after the early game. Because, like, we stalled out their Dynamax perfectly, basically. But I wasn't expecting Rock Tomb at all. But you can see how bulky this Charizard is, right? When you get the screens up on top. It's very difficult to actually KO. Yeah, and there's Zacian. So with Zacian being their last one, the best play is to just always go for... I mean, there's no way they beat... We have 3, like Charizard, Groudon, and Incin at this point, so there's really not much they can do. 3 turns of Reflect, +1 speed. I think the best play is always to just Heat Wave here, right? The best play is to Heat Wave Protect. Yeah. If Zacian protects, then I bring in Incineroar, and then I can just fake out Precipice Blades. And they don't protect Zacian. Okay, great. Maybe they're banking off a Heat Wave miss. Actually, maybe Scorching Sands is better then? I don't know. Nice. Yeah, it doesn't get the one-hit KO, but we don't need it to here. And they just Sacred Sword into Groudon. Perfect. And the reason they may have gone for Sacred Sword over Behemoth Blade is to cover for an Incineroar switch in. But yeah, since we had the Wildfire effect here, I mean, this game was one off basically stalling out our opponent's Dynamax. They didn't really get that much off their Charizard, but in terms of metagame developments, Assault Vest Charizard with Max Rockfall is actually one you should really keep on your radar, especially because of this team. I think this team has made some advancements to Sun, and, you know, it's probably one of the most popular Sun teams right now. And like I said, in my opinion, one of the strongest Sun teams running around right now. So, yeah. We got a lot of good usage out of Charizard and Groudon today, not as much as Venusaur, so I'm hoping tomorrow we can utilize Venusaur a little bit more, but this team is really, really darn consistent. Games are going to go on a little bit longer. You will probably make some more mistakes as a result because they tend to, I don't want to say drag out, but, you know, you're just playing more over a long period of terms. That being said, I think this is a team that is just so consistent across the board. It's going to give you pretty good matchups for a lot of meta standard teams, and generally, like, you will have options against everything. It's just more about how you execute and how you play, rather than like the team. So like the team is strong enough to carry you. You as a player just have to execute well. And today we made a fair amount of mistakes. Definitely felt like I wasn't playing perfectly. But at the end of the day, you don't need to play perfectly to win in Pokemon. You know, you just need to play better than your opponent. And with this team, I think like in my practice games, I definitely made a fair amount of mistakes because like it feels really critical, like, you know, who you max out of Charizard, Venusaur, for example, or Groudon even, when to max, and also like who to not bring basically, because all the Pokemon on this team are just really solid in general. So yeah, either way, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much as always for watching. Don't forget to check out Audie, Raghav, and Collin, and Audie's video about this team down in the description below. You should definitely subscribe to him because he makes such high-level VGC content in general. And thanks as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.